Welcome, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Dr. Valerie Robertson, president of Roxbury Community College. I'm so pleased to be here tonight to honor the careers of pioneering Black women in the field of broadcast media. You might not know that RCC has a long-standing, respected broadcast media program. So I'm pleased to introduce you to one of our graduates, Tashani Whitlow.
Thank you, Dr. Robertson. Good evening. I'm Tashani Whitlow, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Roxbury Community College Foundation's annual gala, Legends of Roxbury, a celebration of Black women in broadcast media. Throughout this evening, we will pay tribute to three amazing women who forever changed journalism in Boston for the better: Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Reverend Liz Walker. Words can't describe the admiration I have for these ladies. As a former general reporter for CBS Boston, I knew going into that position that I had big shoes to fill because of the giants that stood before me. The courage these ladies demonstrated and their sacrifices paved the way for my opportunity. I remember being awarded a scholarship in Sarah Ann Shaw's name, and her telling me, in Sarah Ann Shaw fashion, "Don't take this award in my name and quit." Those words stayed with me, and when times get hard, I recite those words, even in my new role as an anchor for the Black News Channel. Before BNC, before CBS Boston, before WWLP, before NECN and Emerson, it was RCC. The place I learned crucial skills about broadcasting, a place that exposed me to industry professionals and equipment, a place where over 90% of its students are people of color and 80% need financial assistance. I was and am both. Tonight, you'll learn about how Roxbury Community College prepares students just like me for the future. As you watch this live stream, whether on YouTube or Facebook, we encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. We also encourage you to donate to the RCC Foundation. Now, I know we're in a pandemic and what you can give is what you can give, but please know it would be greatly appreciated if you can just give. You can donate by visiting www.rcc.mass.edu/2020legends or texting the words legends to 345-345. Again, that's legends to 345-345. Before introducing you to my co-hosts for the evening, I'd like to welcome Mayor Marty Walsh, who has a few words to share about our honorees.
Hi, this is Mayor Marty Walsh. I want to thank Roxbury Community College and Roxbury Community College Foundation, and thank you all for tuning in to the celebration of Black excellence in Boston. Tonight's awardees have each made a profound impact here in Boston and beyond. Reverend Liz Walker, Carmen Fields, and Sarah Ann Shaw have been fixtures in our community for a long time. They have contributed so much to our social, cultural, and spiritual fabric. And they have inspired generations of young women to follow their dreams and make their voices heard. Representation matters. That's why it's important to celebrate the contributions of these groundbreaking women. We need to continue acknowledging the enormous impact that Black women have made and continue to make in broadcast media and in all fields. And we need to continue to support girls from a young age, support women throughout their workforce, and foster a culture of empowerment and the possibility for all members of our community. Congratulations once again to Reverend Liz Walker, Carmen Fields, and Sarah Ann Shaw on this well-deserved honor. And thank you for all that you do in our city. I know that your impact will continue to grow.
Now, I'd like to introduce you to my co-hosts for the evening, Sheriff Steve Tompkins, Chairman of the RCC Board of Trustees, and Pastor Ray Hammond, Chairman of the Roxbury Community College Foundation.
Thank you so much, Tashani. I'm Pastor Ray Hammond, and I'm the chair of the Roxbury Community College Foundation Board. I am very excited to be here tonight to co-host the second annual Legends of Roxbury fundraiser. I don't need to tell you that this past year has been a real challenge for all of us for many, many reasons. With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the unrest, the protests, the calls for racial justice, as well as the endless political events and elections, 2020 has highlighted the critical importance of having news that comes from trustworthy and diverse perspectives. And with this, it was only fitting to dedicate this year's Legend of Roxbury Awards to Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Reverend Liz Walker, 3 women who paved the way for the diverse news teams that we get to see today. Now, some of you may be watching and may not know that Roxbury Community College was established through community activism. That was driven by individuals who believed in the power of education. And the RCC Foundation established the Legends of Roxbury series so that we could preserve and honor this community's rich history and at the same time raise money to support its future. And so this evening we're going to celebrate women whose work ensured that the local news in Boston included a Black perspective and a Black voice.
Good evening. I'm Suffolk County Sheriff Steve Tompkins, and I'm also proud to serve as the chairman of the Roxbury Community College Board of Trustees. It's my pleasure to be here this evening, both to honor these 3 extraordinary women who were leaders in their fields and social justice warriors, and to raise money for Roxbury Community College's students. The challenge of this year have been hardest on the students served by RCC. In the Roxbury community, so many individuals have lost their jobs, which won't ever come back. Your gifts will enable students to gain new skills for reemployment and to connect them with employers through internships. Our goal is to reach as many students as possible. So we need your help and the help from many more donors like you. Let me tell you more about RCC in this brief video. Roxbury Community College is an institution born out of the activism and community concern about access to higher education. When the Commonwealth planned a highway to be built in Roxbury, a movement was started to block those efforts and to instead demand the establishment of a community college. Today, RCC's mission is to provide a nurturing environment where all community members are welcome. We work to ensure that all family members can benefit from educational seminars, courses and programs, cultural and civic engagement events, and the community resources provided by RCC. The college offers over 30 degree and certificate programs that allow students to transfer to a 4-year university or to enter the workforce. We ensure that students are successful by providing free resources, including laptops, tutoring, and other academic support. Our rate of success is 68%, which is well above the state average. Over time, RCC graduates increase their income by 2 economic quartiles, which lifts them from poverty and enables them to earn salaries to care for themselves and their families. Although we've completed substantial work aimed at breaking down the academic barriers to success, such as eliminating developmental math and science courses, supporting students at RCC goes a step further. Students can't succeed in classes if they are hungry. They can't succeed in classes if they don't have childcare or housing. Perhaps more importantly, students can't succeed if they cannot afford their tuition and fees. That's where the Roxbury Community College Foundation comes in. The RCCF raises money to support a variety of needs at RCC. Money raised by the RCCF supports facility upgrades, program improvements, and special projects. Most critically, the RCCF raises money to provide direct student support in the form of need and merit-based scholarships, food insecurity initiatives, and more. Every penny raised by the RCCF provides Boston's hardest working, most deserving students with the educational opportunities they deserve. We need support from donors like you to continue the long-standing mission of RCC and to provide students with the education they deserve. Visit rcc.mass.edu or call to pledge your support.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank those donors who've made donations to the RCC Foundation for several years, as I am sure I benefited from your generosity as an RCC student. I now ask Dr. Roberson to remind all of you how you can donate tonight and to introduce RCC student Jessica Rosario.
Thanks so much. Anyone watching this live stream can donate by visiting rcc.mass.edu/2020 Legends or texting the words Legends to 345-345. I'd like to also quickly say hello to some of the people that have been able to join us in today's broadcast. Grace Lee, Reverend Hines, Lynn Duvall-Luz, thank you so much for joining us. We're really happy that you're here. And thank you to all of you who've already generously donated. I'd also like to thank Amy and David Abrams and the Yaki Foundation, who gave at our editorial board level sponsors for tonight's event. Now, let's hear directly from the Yaki Foundation.
I'm Maureen Blade of the Yaki Foundation, and on behalf of our trustees, I'd like to express how proud we are to support the mission of Roxbury Community College and to celebrate tonight's honorees. Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Reverend Liz Walker, you are all indeed legends, and not only as journalists, but as esteemed leaders and role models, with long-standing, meaningful commitments to social justice, courageous conversations, and trust in all that comes from fostering mutual understanding. Each one of you makes our community better and stronger. Our foundation's founders, Tom and Jean Yaki, valued the importance of equitable access to education because they understood its ability to change lives, how academic achievement can provide pathway to economic mobility and improved outcomes across many fronts. And nowhere is that better exemplified than through Roxbury Community College's commitment to the success of its students and the greater Roxbury community. Congratulations again to tonight's honorees, and thank you.
Now I'm excited to introduce you to Jessica Rosario, who's currently Vice President of RCC's Student Government Association. She's going to tell you a bit about what it's like to be a student at RCC.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Rosario, and it is an honor to be here tonight as a current student of RCC. And I would like to share a bit of my journey and how RCC has impacted my life in a positive aspect. I was born in New York to Dominican parents whom decided to move to the state of Rhode Island to raise a family of 6. Once I became a young adult, I decided to move to the state of Massachusetts, and it did not take me long for me to realize that in order to excel in this new place I now called home, I needed to pursue a higher education and earn a degree that would complement my current interests. Currently, and at the time, I was the mother of 2 with no support system nearby, all while working my 9 to 5. So I felt that my daily responsibilities would hinder me from making this possible, and that's when I came across RCC. I knew very little about RCC. It was relatively close to where I was employed, so I decided to give it a shot and reach out to get informed. I was able to learn that the degree I wanted to pursue was mostly offered online and on weekends, which gave me a huge boost of confidence. I was able to continue working full-time, be a mother, and work on myself without allowing my personal goals to interfere with my daily schedule. Even though my schooling took place online and on weekends, because of my grades, I was inducted into the National Society of Leadership and Success, also known as the Sigma Alpha Pi, which is a leadership honor society that has exposed me to broadcasts that allowed me to gain knowledge on interpersonal skills, personality types, networking, and gain clarity in ways that I can refine my leadership skills. Now, fast forward to 2020, I was introduced to the idea of becoming a member of the Student Government Association, in which I now hold the Vice President position. Being a part of this association has allowed me to gain confidence in my leadership skills by allowing me to represent an entire student body and engage with those in leadership positions to make a difference. When I decided to resume my education with the goal of getting a degree, it was unbeknown to me that my hard work and good grades would allow me to be recognized. Not only have I grown from an educational standpoint through my classes, but I have also grown from a psychological standpoint through the Monday broadcast that I attend, and from a leadership standpoint through my participation in the SGA, leading up to developing as a good student, all while developing skills that I can also apply in my personal and professional life, being that my ultimate goal is to transition into a leadership position in administrative management. I personally feel that this would not be possible if I did not take my chances with RCC. This is a school that gives back to the community, and during these hard times, they have been very supportive with their students by providing COVID relief scholarships, free laptops, and just really engaging in ways they believe that will be beneficial for their students to succeed. And I personally feel that thus far, I'm living proof of it. Returning to school has not been an easy road as a single mother, but it has been a refreshing and eye-opener. Being exposed to these new opportunities has motivated me to stay hungry and continue my path towards gaining my degree and securing my future for me and my children. This experience has allowed me to understand that anything is possible once you apply yourself. I know I will succeed because I got my start at RCC. Thank you.
We are now ready to honor the legendary careers of Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Reverend Liz Walker. I'm sure most of you watching have followed the careers of our honorees. Now, let's take a listen to the journeys of these exceptional women in their own words.
In Boston, we tune in to learn about the news from Karen Holmes Ward, Janet Wu, Amaka Ubaka, Latoya Edwards, Rondella Richardson, Shayna Seymour, Anna Rittis Rodriguez, and other talented women of color. It's almost difficult to remember what the nightly news looked like in the 50s and 60s, when reporters and anchors were almost exclusively white men. The diverse, representative news teams of today are possible because of pioneering efforts of a tenacious group of women who broke barriers in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. In particular, we honor Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Reverend Liz Walker for their contributions to the field of journalism and for accurately portraying the beauty of Roxbury. These pioneering women knew from a young age that they wanted to make a difference.
When I look back on the 60s and the 70s and the 50s, the times I grew up in, there wasn't any one person, there were many persons. I think it was the times that inspired me. We had so many voices. We had Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers and Malcolm X, Angela Davis and John Lewis. Those were the contemporary voices around me that told me, first of all, I mattered. You know, even James Brown back then was an inspiration because he said that we could be black and proud. So those were the voices that I heard. Those were the voices that told me that I mattered. And not only that I mattered, but that I had a responsibility to the rest of the community and to the world. And I think that's what inspired me.
My 7th grade English teacher had a unit on journalism during that year, and that sparked my interest at first. Later, a columnist at the black newspaper in my hometown, the Oklahoma Eagle, invited me to be a guest columnist, and that cemented the deal.
Sarah Ann Shaw became a reporter in part because of her experience as a community activist. For Carmen Fields and Reverend Liz Walker, their professional experience helped to land their first jobs in Boston.
It was serendipity that I became a reporter. I was involved with a community group that was trying to get more Black people jobs in the television industry and in newspapers as well. And I was a community representative in the organization. And the man who was the general manager of Channel 4 at that time offered me a job, and he thought I could do the job.
My first job was in Little Rock, Arkansas, which was my hometown. And I looked around that newsroom. Nobody looked like me. Nobody'd heard anyone like me in that newsroom. So I think that I was a little afraid and certainly challenged, but excited about doing something different. When I got to Boston, I'd been in media for many years. I came here after living in Little Rock, after working in Denver, Colorado, and San Francisco. So I'd earned my abilities. I'd done my work. But it was such a new thing to have a Black face on the main news in Boston. That was very different. And suddenly I was being judged all over again.
Well, being the first Black woman reporter at Channel 4, it was difficult. I mean, I would go places to do interviews, and people would be very surprised that I was the reporter. Sometimes it was difficult to get people to cooperate, to grant me interviews, even though I was working for an established television station. Sometimes there was hostility from some of the people I was interviewing. And you have to prove yourself over and over and over again.
My very first job out of college was for a small television station in Jefferson City, Missouri. I was the first and I was the only. Need I say more? It was a very interesting learning experience, learning the business, and also because it was a small station, I got a chance to shoot my own film, process it, edit it, deliver the stories on the air, live on the air, do the writing. So it was a preparation, an all-encompassing preparation for the task ahead. But being the first and the only was something I wasn't prepared for, but I knew that I had to represent and hopefully be successful, because those that came behind me might be measured by what had happened for me.
Throughout their careers, our honorees showed Boston as it was. Carmen Fields won a Pulitzer Prize for being part of the Boston Globe team that covered busing. Liz Walker covered the Charles Stewart murder case. But what these amazing women will be remembered for is their commitment to showing Boston, and especially Roxbury, at its best.
I'm particularly proud of Channel 7's coverage of the 1982 NAACP National Convention when it met in Boston. Along with a producer, Vicki Jones, and others, we fashioned stories, live broadcasts, special programs around the NAACP convention. In fact, we covered it as if it was either the Democratic or Republican convention.
When Nelson Mandela was freed from prison in South Africa, Boston was one of the first cities he came to visit. And he was on the Esplanade, and 200,000 people showed up, and it was a celebration. I ended up falling in love with Boston. I remember covering the 4th of July Esplanade concert from a rooftop on the Back Bay, and just seeing this city at its best. When this city shines, oh my God, it shines big.
What I tried to do was to develop stories that no one else was doing, stories that really showed positive things which were going on in the community, things that illustrated good educational programs or innovative educational programs, good training programs, things which demonstrated that Roxbury as a community had all kinds of people, people who were going to work every day, people who were not doing drugs, who were not selling drugs, who were not negative people. I tried to do the positive stories about my community because this is where I was born and this is where I live, and I thought that that was a very important thing for me to try to do as a reporter, which was give people information about my community.
Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Reverend Liz Walker didn't just cover Roxbury. All three women made a point of covering the amazing stories at Roxbury Community College.
Did I cover Roxbury Community College? I think I'm responsible probably for half of the bricks that are used to build these buildings on this campus because I paid particular attention to RCC because it was conceived and launched the exact same time as Bunker Hill Community College. And the challenge was getting a permanent home for Roxbury Community College. So I just kind of made it my business to follow and pester a governor or pester someone in a hearing. What about RCC? What about RCC? And whenever we were at an impasse for the news and the assignment editor looks at you and says, well, you know, what can we do? Who can we get right quick? Well, I'd call somebody at RCC and I could come and get a story about what's the next step to get a permanent home for RCC. That was my reason to be, and I am so proud of what I see now. It's as if I birthed it myself.
When Reggie Lewis died of a heart attack playing basketball or practicing, that was a great tragedy for this city. His wife, Donna, was an amazing, and still is an amazing woman. And despite her grief and her trauma, she decided she was going to turn her grief around, and she did so many and still continues to do so many things for the city. So with the Reggie Lewis Center, of course, that's a state institution, but she was a part of that. That's her husband, and she gave permission. Roxbury Community College stands for everybody can get an education, and everybody can do better, and everybody, can be a part of a productive quality of life in a community. And so Donna Lewis invested in the community through that center. So that was an exciting time when that center opened, and it was, with the track, which was a world-class track, it just elevated the neighborhood and elevated the city, and that was a big story to cover.
Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Liz Walker were successful because of their talent, perseverance, and unbridled commitment to the truth. But it certainly didn't hurt that Reverend Walker and Carmen Fields had the legendary Sarah Ann Shaw as their mentor.
I am a little awed by Sarah Ann because she's an institution, and I worked with her at Channel 4, and you didn't mess with Sarah Ann. If Sarah Ann wanted something done, you pretty much tried to figure out how to do it. And she's still that way. She's committed to this community. She's committed to social justice, and she fights for that. And she fights for what she believes in. So she's a real shero for me. She is a pioneer in this field and has done so many amazing things in this community. She is unapologetically for Roxbury. So I am awed by Sarah Ann.
I love Sarah Ann Shaw. I consider her my journalistic godmother. You don't have enough time for me to count the ways that Sarah Ann Shaw has been important to my life and my career. She's responsible for helping me finish my master's thesis because she had all of these papers and notes and minutes and things that you couldn't find in a library, but that were sitting right there in her house. When I was starting at the Boston Globe, she would regularly check on me and offer me suggestions for stories and tell me about meetings that were occurring in the community that might interest me.
We stand in awe of Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Liz Walker. We are proud to honor these amazing women as legends of Roxbury.
I hope you enjoyed learning about the exceptional careers of Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, and Reverend Liz Walker. I now invite Sheriff Tompkins to the stage to introduce our featured entertainer for the evening.
Thank you, Tashana. Really appreciate it. Let me say this real quick. I know all of these ladies pretty well and pretty intimately throughout my time here in Boston, and I am not at all surprised that Liz Walker is a reverend now, because she is that wealth of knowledge and information that really is insightful and helpful. Sarah Ann Shaw reminds me of one of my aunts who knows what you're going to do and what you're thinking about before you do it, or even if you think it, and she's going to make sure that you do it the right way. And then there's Carmen Fields. And when I was in college, my first internship was at her television station, and she was like your older sister. And you know your older sister, if you have a misstep, your older sister's going to pull you aside, and she's going to let you know about it, and she's going to tell you, boy, don't do that again. And Carmen certainly did, and I tell you what, I never did that again. And I love these ladies, and I really appreciate everything that they have done throughout their careers for the community and definitely for Roxbury Community College. So to start, let me give a few shout outs. Names of VIPs, staff, or any other people that have been very helpful, beginning with the Reverend Liz Walker. Former Roxbury Community College Trustee Board Chair Gerald Chatavian. The Foundation, RCC Foundation member Greg King. Trustee Mark Cullerton. Chiming in all the way from Texas, Mr. Byron Temple. From the class of 1995, Carmen Loving. And Miss Bethia Carter, who does a lot in philanthropy here in the city of Boston. I would also like to thank People's United Bank, the Patriots Foundation, Eastern Bank, Boston Medical Center, Health System, and the Lewis Family Fund, Reggie Lewis Jr., Rashana Lewis, and hold on one second, Rashana Lewis and Donna Harris Lewis. Each of these organizations and individual are anchor level donors for this celebration. I would also like to give some recognition to these donors, Laura James, Pamela Lomax, and Cecile Regner, who donated to the RCCF a few minutes ago. I'd now like to introduce Nick Walker, who has performed in the musicals Hamilton and Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. Most importantly, he is the son of the Reverend Liz Walker, and he will be doing a special performance tonight in honor of his mother.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Nick Walker. I am the proud son of the amazing woman that you guys are honoring tonight, Miss Liz Walker, Reverend Liz Walker. When I was asked to sing at this program, first of all, the answer was automatic yes, but you'd be amazed at how many programs I'm asked to sing honoring my mother, and that is with good reason, because she is a hero to so many. She's a hero to an entire city at this point, let alone a region, the New England region. And I am just so honored to in any way be a part of such an amazing legacy, a woman who has dedicated her entire being to helping her community. Mom, I love you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so proud to be your son. So I hope that this song can in some way kind of speak my mind about how I feel about you and all the work that you do. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movies and I go downtown. Somebody keeps telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Love you, Mom.
My goodness, what a wonderful performance, Nick. I had no idea that voice was going to come out of you. Well, thank you for that. And now we hear directly from our honorees.
I'm really thankful to have been given this award. I'm also glad that Carmen Fields and Liz Walker step on out and said, let's do it. We had the area for one chunk of time, but it's also the young people who are here going to Roxbury Community College. They have a responsibility to go forward and to take what they've learned. I know I'm kind of stumbly, but my heart tells me that RCC board, RCCC students, they make all the difference in the world.
I am humbled to receive this recognition from Roxbury Community College. Mainly I'm humbled to just stand in the shadow of giants. The other honorees, the people who are a part of the board, the esteemed president, to those of you who go to this school, to those of you who support this school. This is the work that matters. There's so much going on in this world, and it's easy to become distracted. I am very sure that what we are doing here, what you are doing every day to support Roxbury Community College is the important thing. I've done what I've done just based on grace, that I've been in the right place at the right time and standing on the shoulders of many wonderful people, but what goes on at Roxbury Community College to inspire people who may not otherwise be inspired, to give people second chances, to offer opportunities to people who really want to make it in the world and who deserve opportunities but may not have the means to get them. That's the work that has to be done to get this world on equal footing. And we so desperately need to be on equal footing now. So I thank you for letting me be a part of this. And I wish you all the very, very best. Be safe and Godspeed. Congratulations to you, Roxbury Community College.
Thank you for your inspiring words. Sarah Ann and Reverend Walker. I am now pleased to introduce Carmen Fields, who is joining us live to share her thoughts with you.
Thank you for that introduction. And to President Robertson, Foundation Chair, Reverend Dr. Hammond, Chair Sheriff Tompkins, and other board members, family and friends, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know what it means to me to be so much as mentioned in the same breath, same sentence, or on the same page with my dear, dear friends, Sarah Ann Shaw and Reverend Liz Walker. I am so honored and will treasure this experience the rest of my life. A few days ago, one of my favorite songs by the singing group The Dells came on the radio. Yes, I love old school. The song is called Stay in My Corner. It's a love song, but it made me think about all the people who have been in my corner over the years and have had a hand in my success. There are so many folks who encouraged me. I cannot name them all, but some of them I must. My parents, Ernie and Bernice Copeland Fields. My brothers, Charles and Ernie Jr., always in my corner. My home community of Tulsa that prepared me to go out into the world with confidence. My teachers, my college and graduate school professors, particularly BU's Robert Barham and Dr. Murray Yeager. In my professional life, many in my corner nudged, advocated for, and even corrected me, but stayed in my corner and on my cheering squad. There was Boston Globe editor Tom Winship, Boston Evening Globe editor Joe Deneen, and Dexter Ewer. In television, and you may remember some of these names, at Channel 7, my sister friends Lynn Vaughn, Charlene Mitchell, Vicki Jones, among others. At Channel 4, Stan Hopkins and the late Charlie Austin. And at Channel 2, my favorite co-anchor of all time, Christopher Lydon. Later would come mentoring and inspiration from the likes of United Way CEO Marion Hurd, Keyspan executives Bob Cattell, Nick Stavropoulos, and Barbara Cates Garnick. But tonight's recognition is from a Roxbury institution. Roxbury institutions and the people of Roxbury are my friends, my reliable sources, sorors of Alpha Kappa Alpha, people who have been in my corner. Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't give special thanks to my husband, Lorenz Fennison, who is steadfastly in my corner most of all. You know, when we courted and got engaged, I was a TV star. But by the time we got married, I was with the DA's office. But he has tolerated all the twists and turns of my career journey, and so far remains in my corner. I'm particularly grateful for that. Finally, to the students, particularly future storytellers, I leave you with the words of master storyteller Lorraine Hansberry when she addressed a group of student writing contest winners in 1964. She congratulated them saying, and I quote, "Though it be a thrilling and marvelous thing to be merely young and gifted in such times, it is doubly so, doubly dynamic to be young, gifted, and Black." She went on to admonish them, as I admonish you this evening, write about our people, tell their story. You have something glorious to draw upon, begging for attention. Don't pass it up, use it. Good luck to you. The nation needs your gifts. Again, my thank you for all the love over all the years and for staying in my corner.
Oh, please.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful speech. I'm a firm believer in giving people their roses while they are still here with us, and I pray that we accomplish that tonight. I'd like to thank all of you so much for joining us this evening, and for everyone watching and supporting this amazing event. Please give yourself a warm round of applause, because without you, this wouldn't be possible.
Yes, and thank you all. And a special thank you to Sarah Ann Shaw, Carmen Fields, Reverend Liz Walker for being so generous with their time and for their outstanding careers. I'd also like to thank Marcus Jones, Sean Benecote from CBS Boston, and Claire Shaw for providing such great footage and photos of our honorees' careers.
And special thanks to everyone who watched tonight and shared your feedback in the comments section. In particular, I'd like to thank Byron Rushing, Judge Harris, and alumnus Marcia Sharp. We're glad that you could digitally join us tonight.
And now a final word of tribute to three phenomenal people. My neighbor of more than 30 years, Sarah Ann Shaw. My ministerial colleague and fellow traveler to war zones, Liz Walker. And last but by no means least, Carmen Fields, a beloved friend over many years. Let me take a moment also to thank our sponsors. We want to extend special thanks to Amy and David Abrams, the Yawkey Foundation, People's United Bank, the Kraft Family Foundation, Eastern Bank, Boston Medical Center Health System, and the Lewis Family Fund with Reggie Lewis Jr., Regina Lewis, and Donna Harris Lewis. All of you have made incredibly generous donations. And of course, we have to give special thanks to our journalist, producer, and videographer level sponsors, whose names you will see as well as their logos very shortly. Let me also take a moment to thank some donors who donated using our text to give or donation links during this broadcast. They include Candley Val and Hillel Sims, as well as Jeff Van Driesen. Thank you all for your generous giving. And you still have time. It's not too late. There's still time to text the word LEGENDS to 345-345, or you can visit www.rcc.mass.edu 2020 Legends to make that donation. And if you're just a little short this evening, the website will be up forever. Get that in before the year end is out. Put a little note, Legends. We want to give you the opportunity to be a part of an incredible evening. And I've been so much a pleasure to be a part of what's happened here. The Legends of Roxbury series is such an important way to honor the legacy of RCC, even as we continue to prepare ourselves and this institution for the stronger, brighter future that it and the students that it serves deserve. And so on behalf of the foundation of RCC, on behalf of this college, on behalf of everyone here tonight, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your generous support. God bless you all with a wonderful holiday season.